Hey people, in this video I'm going to be showing you how I made the Birmingham in 30 seconds epic B-roll bonanza. So a couple of days back I put a video out called Birmingham in 30 seconds. In that video I gave myself a challenge of going out into Birmingham city centre and trying to condense all of the key landmarks and all of those areas into a video that was only 30 seconds long. So to get the ball rolling, I'm going to show you the full video here. So what I'm going to do in this video is go through the video frame by frame, talk about how I made the transitions work, what my thought patterns were when I was going through creating this video, and some of the effects that I used to really sell the transitions between each of the shots. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, so here we are taking a look at the video on the screen. So if I scrub through here, this opening shot here, lovely Birmingham in 30 seconds. This is a drone shot. I'm actually playing this in reverse. I was going towards this, the iconic BT Tower in Birmingham. And what I've done here is put in the title for it to glitch in, a couple of sound effects, glitching that in, and then I've tracked the title to that BT Tower so it moves backwards in space and just, you know, starts to add a bit of movement into the shot. Now, if you notice here, on the right hand side and the left, there's a couple of flares coming onto the screen here. These are not actually legit flares. These are just flares that I've overlaid just to add a little bit of extra spice to the shot, make it a bit more interesting. Well, the colours are all quite like nice deep blues. It has that kind of evening tone to it. When I actually took this shot, it was at golden hour. The original shot was, you know, well, golden. But you know, for the purpose of this video, I decided I want all the visuals to be blue, moody, evening time, and that is consistent throughout the whole kind of video. So there's kind of blue, pink tones. So if we move on into this first transition, wash. This was just a static shot of my girlfriend walking forward through this water feature, which is in Birmingham near the library. Now I just put this shot in reverse, gives a nice cool effect of that water, those water ripples reversing in. But also as she moves backwards, I also keyframed out some movement so it really helps to sell that zoom out effect from there into there. So everything's moving backwards in time and space. From here, if you notice, the frame starts to go dark. So what I did here was I put a color board on and keyframed in the exposure and brought the exposure down. The reason that I did that is to marry it into this next shot here, which is a draw mask transition coming from behind a pole. And this is just a real simple technique you can do. So when you're mixing two shots together and you're going from, you know, a relatively decent lit environment to a point where you're going to do a draw mask transition onto a dark surface or a light surface, you can change the color of your shot gradually, and it just helps to sell that transition and make it smoother. Here, just a quick shot and on the beat, no crazy transition, no zooms, no masks or anything, but on the hit, bang, a clean cut just to go from that middle length shot to a macro shot. This introduces the character into the scene. Now, if you notice here on the right hand side of the screen, I started to integrate a graduated mask. And the opacity of that graduated mask, I increased ever so slightly as this shot went on. So it goes from just a clean shot here, opacity comes in, it starts showing this side of the Birmingham library, the big famous landmark, and it starts to set the scene. Okay, we are now looking out into the city, we're about to go. This, again, onto this transition, another card cut, bang. The thinking behind this shot, I was walking around Birmingham and, you know, this is setting the scene that we're about to move we're about to go, we're about to start. It's gonna go from red to green, and we can make that hit on the beat, bang. And as it hits, it sets the scene for shit's about to get real. The pace of this edit's really about to pick up. Green means go, bang. Feet, we're about to go again. We have these real nice bits of bokeh and then some prism blur overlaid here. And then this part here, there's quite a bit going on. So there's a little zoom there. I faded in some birds that I managed to capture. So just the darkest parts of the image. But also you'll see on here, it goes from nothing to crazy. And I wanted to just really create some chaos. You know, this after this shot before, where it goes from red to green means go, I wanted to start integrating some craziness straight away. So immediately it goes bang, and you get some craziness and it shakes. And there's numerous different things going on in the frame with the birds. You can hear in there, there's a slight sound effect of a crow in there. It's very subtle. And if you just follow this on, the foot actually comes into the frame and kicks forward. And as it kicks forward, you zoom into the iconic bull of the bull ring. Now, the way that I shot this zoom into the bull, it was literally a very light rocking motion forward. So I literally just had the camera in my hands and moved forward only about 2 or 3 feet. But what I did to really extend the zoom on this and give it that dramatic look was, as I moved forward, I also zoomed the lens in as well. And when you put that through a speed ramp and have a zoom in effect here, bang, it gives a real dramatic zoom in there. From here, kicks through, bash. So what you'll notice I've included in this frame here when we start going into the kind of crazy part of the edit is the edges have got this like weird, colourful, warping, strange effect on it. And what that is a prism blur. What I did was took these shots, and once I'd done all of the speed ramping, grading, and got them looking how I wanted, I then overlaid them on top, put a prism blur effect on the bottom layer, and then on the top layer, I drew a mask around the center of the frame, so I can draw the viewer's attention into what is in the center of the frame. So just moving on from here, it goes prism blur zoom. Again, this is a hard cut, but there's a speed ramp into this cut. So again, even though this is like a crazy transition, epic B-roll sequence where you expect a lot of smooth and seamless transitions, because the colors of this are so similar and you're zooming into a different part of the bull here, it really sells it. You can have a clean cut with a bit of a speed ramp. Now this part here, you can still see that there's that prism blur sat, giving that kind of craziness on the outside, and the eye opens. So how did I do this exactly? I got a green screen of an eye opening, and then I drew a mask around the bull's eye, and then keyframed in the opacity, and it all happens over about 2 or 3 frames. So when it's in full pace, it really gives the impression that it's an eye opening, and you can see that it moves along with the bull as the bull moves forward, so it gives that impression that the bull is alive. Bosh. And when we actually open the eye, it moves into this next scene, it zooms through the eye, and this is the eye that is on the side of Birmingham's Grand Central Station, and it's quite a big feature, it's quite well known in the city, so I thought a nice link of 2 key features of the city together from eye to eye. Now again here, I was just moving my camera behind an object, getting another draw mask transition. And this on the left here, a pole, I just pan across it, and as I'm moving, it swipes us straight into this next shot of a tram. And as you can see with the tram on this opening shot, there's a bit of glow to it, and that's an effect that I've put on to just kind of add this kind of dreamy, surreal feel, just following on from the look that I had in here, where it has the kind of outside prism blur to it. I wanted to keep that kind of trippy, dreamy feeling. You can see as this comes closer, it gets brighter, so I've keyframed in how intense that glory effect is. and speed ramped this tram coming past, and just this is a clean whip pan, clean cut. All I've done as it comes in full pace is just whip pan from left to right onto the Grand Central, and whip pan from left to right with this, with a bit of speed ramping. It is a hard cut, but there's so much going on, so much motion blur, and it all happened so fast you wouldn't even know. Gosh. And again, real quick one here, you show the Grand Central, and in the same way that this previous shot started without much glow on it, I put the same effect to add that craziness to this, so it almost gives this feeling like you're kind of going through like hyperspace or something. And then just a quick whip pan up. This is a clean cut here, whips up, match it with the sky colour, and then we're showing the BT Tower here, another big iconic venue, which is how we started it off. Now here, this pans down behind a gravestone, and this is like a dark greeny colour. And then just to keep the flow of this going, this is a close-up of a tree going past at super high speed, and also with a lot of motion blur on there as well. But all together, these three bits of movement together, you've got your left, up, and then down, crazy turning. And then here, you know, you've had all these chaotic movements. We go back into bringing a bit more of a slower pace into the edit. Now these fountains are a pretty well-known feature in Birmingham. There's these various different fountains, and they have different colours in them. So it started off as this real cool pink colour. It's got this nice bokeh effect in the background. And also, as this moves along, you'll notice it goes into this kind of glowy effect, and it's got that prism blur around the edge just to have that consistency throughout the edit. So it's coming back. Water always looks so sick when you play it in reverse. And then this, you know, a clean cut in this end bit just to bring the drama back into it. Clean cut onto this shot, close up of a hands being grabbed with this beautiful bokeh in the background and these deep blue colours in there. And then finally a wide shot showing my girlfriend here, Jay, and the Birmingham library. Again, keeping this look and feel around the edges here. Little light flare comes across here. You'll notice that's been overlaid in post-production, just really sells it. As the beat comes up here, going into the final scene, a clean cut, kind of. There's a little bit of a flash, there's a flash of white there. And what this is here, a time lapse. And as the time lapse, I slowed the time lapse right down. It was just still, I've keyframed in a little bit of reverse movement in there. And what it does, it just follows the sound. And as the bass drop comes down, the sky sets in that position. It looks real nice, real cool, real slick. And bam, we're finished. Just a little point to add, this here, this shot is inspired by the intro on the show Vikings. And if you haven't seen Vikings, you should watch Vikings, because the cinematography of it is absolutely delicious. So in the intro, they have a wave that comes up, hits a rock, and then it all goes into slow motion at the last minute, and then a stop. So that's what inspired that. So I hope you enjoyed that, people. I hope it was some value to you, and I hope you enjoyed seeing how I constructed that edit and what my thoughts were as I went through it. But for now, take it easy. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Drop me a subscribe if you'd be so kind. It would mean a hell of a lot to me, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.